Hello and welcome all back to Election Time News in Australia. Today is Friday, May 2nd, 2025, and tomorrow is the federal election for Australia 2025. Today I'm going to be going over the MRP that YouGov released 2 days ago, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing electorate by electorate, my projections, well, the percentage projections, the probability projections for each electorate, and that will be my final prediction. Then on the 4th, I'll be coming out with my Canadian election release video, or results analysis video, and then I'll be doing the same for Australia's whenever the final results do come out. Of course, it's ranked choice voting, so it might take a little bit longer. Now, there's also a few other things. My microphone, I'm going to need to replace it because the buzzing isn't necessarily an issue that I can easily fix, so I will have to upgrade that. But I do apologize in advance for any buzzing that may be there for the next video or a few. I hope to be able to get a new one soon. And so now, Election Time News, your one-stop for all things politics and elections for American, Australian, and Canadian politics. Subscribe below for more content like this for analyses, poll reviews, updates, and changes, as well as news that I put in the Posts tab. I keep everyone updated, so make sure to subscribe if you are not already. And now, remember, there's never a dull moment in politics. So now, looking over at this MRP by YouGov, one day, this was released 3 days out, the Labour Party has done much better in this MRP than they did before. For example, just right off the bat, the chance of a Liberal majority is now 97.3%. I believe it was 40 not that long ago. Hung Parliament was the most likely thing in the second MRP, 2.7% now. Coalition majority down to 1%. The national two-party preferred vote, 52.9% for the Labour Party, 47.1% for the coalition. It was 50.2 to 49.8 in the second one. So the Labour Party is surging right now, and you can also see that in the Guardian thing here. Again, looking at the two-party preferred, based on this, on the MRP, 52.9. That's really on the high end of the Guardian's poll model here compared to each other there. 53%, that's 52.9, 47.1, 47. So they're literally 0.1% off from each other. Primary vote, the coalition is leading is actually, interestingly, leading by a good bit in the Guardians, but is actually losing the primary vote in YouGov's MRP. The Labour is leading by 0.3%. That is definitely a change. I believe the third-party vote across the board has dropped a bit for the main two parties, but not by all that much. Most of it has gone to the Labour Party, but I do believe that the percentages are slightly off, and based on that seat projection, now 84 seats are projected for Labour. That is a large jump. 3 for the Greens, 14 for Teal Independents, 2 for other independents, 0 for One Nation, and 47 for the coalition. That is a huge collapse. Matter of fact, 47 seats for the coalition would be, even from now, down 6. And that would be 11 less than they won last election just 3 years ago. 77 seats to 84. That is a 7-seat gain for the Labour Party in this latest MRP. So that is quite a bit of a gain, to say the least. Right at the very, very end here, we do still have, for example, this is just a random close one picked. I'm not sure how it picks these, but anyway, Boothby, projected likely winner of Labour. I believe they had coalition winning this seat in the other one. This is the Paul Bludger map. If we are to look at it, obviously 78 to 57, so Labour does gain a seat based on projecting the current map to the 2022 results. But still looking at this map here, there's, even gaining on that, which would mean that, they're going to be gaining where they need to, since they are projected to win more. If the YouGov numbers are correct, if the YouGov seat projection is correct, 84, and Poll Bludger says they would have won 78 seats had the exact same results, which isn't, of course, plausible because of incumbency and other factors. I mean, if you had just put the 2022 results onto the new map, then the Labour Party would win 78 seats, the Coalition 57, the Greens 4, Katters Australian 1, Central Alliance 1, Independents 9. If you then took these projections, 84, that means that they're obviously doing something right because they're gaining 6 seats from 2022's results projected onto the current map, which means that they are gaining, which is honestly very interesting considering the fact that they're actually projected to lose 0.7% in the two-party preferred vote, 1.4% total swing to the coalition. Have to double that, which is still quite a bit better than we were seeing before with 50.2 to 49.8. That was neck and neck. That would have been most likely a hung parliament, but still, it's honestly shocking how quickly these things have changed, and the odds on Kalshi have absolutely mirrored this. This came out on the 30th, and actually right before that, the odds started spiking for Albanese. He was at 84, 85%, 83 on the 28th, and then he is now at 96%. That is safe. That's safe. The betting markets are saying that Anthony Albanese is basically guaranteed to be Prime Minister of Australia after the election tomorrow. Guaranteed. 96% chance. Which party will win the majority? This one is slightly lower, interestingly. Labour Party, still 94. If you look at the last day, interestingly, it dropped down to 51 to 52 at some point, but then it fixed up to 89% for the Labour Party. Now, that's the problem with these small sample sizes of $78,000 or so, is if someone makes a large investment in one thing, because they could end up having, conflicts of interest or something, it could completely mess up these numbers, but still, that's not working. That's not very helpful. And alright, so apparently Kalshi just broke. So, it's saying it's client side, but I bet my computer is doing just fine. Anyway, I'll see if we can get this back up for a minute, but in the meantime, we can quickly look over at the Prime Minister again. 96%. So you're looking here at, the 28th. Again, it went down. That's higher than it was, a week ago. And he's just continued to gone up since the end of March. We're looking right now again at 96%, almost $100,000 bet. So that's not that low of a sample there. There we go, 94%. It doesn't even show up here because it was such a short period of time that it happened. It was most likely one large purchase was made and then they sold it. I don't exactly know. Maybe it was some form of investment, some sort of trading. I'm not 100% sure what happened there. But 94% to 6%. That is still safe. That's over 90%. That's basically safe. So then again, they're basically saying that the Labour Party will win the majority of seats tomorrow during the election. It is basically guaranteed, according to the betting markets. Now, of course, it could shift very, very quickly. We saw what happened in the Canadian elections. The markets it was on Polymarket, but the markets, I believe, were at 80% for the Liberals, and then some good results for the Conservatives started coming in, and the odds immediately dropped to Conservatives in the lead with like 55%, and then within another half hour, it was right back to 95% for the Liberals. So it doesn't necessarily say that it's completely over yet. There is still a 6% chance, according to these odds, that the coalition will win the majority of seats. but it's only 6%. 6%, I believe, is roughly around the odds that the betting markets gave Trump of winning New Mexico in October. So that is basically guaranteed and over, because Harris won New Mexico by what? I can actually pull it up real quick right here. It was pretty close to like just under 5 points, I think. It was, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. I was looking at past election results, and if any would change if you change the electoral vote count. The answer is yes, but not for the past 100 years or so. New Mexico, Harris won it by 6. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over, but it's almost a sure guarantee. I'm trying to think of any other quick analogies here for, a 6%, 5% odds, but I'm not really coming up with much. So it's basically guaranteed for Albanese that he will carry into a majority the Labour Party winning another majority against the coalition tomorrow. If you are Australian, obviously, absolutely make sure to go out and vote. Compulsory voting, but make sure to go out and vote. 18.1 million people, 98.2% of eligible voters. Go out and vote. Your future does depend on it. That's all I have to say. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to not miss tomorrow's video. I am going to be going over electorate by electorate, all 65 of these toss-up seats. It should be relatively long, probably not much, probably a bit shorter than my Canadian one, because I'm pretty sure there was even more than that. And then, of course, I will be coming out with my Canadian comparison video, and then the analysis of the results for this one when it is all done. Subscribe if you're not already. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day.